So thank you for those opening remarks. Now, I'm afraid that I have a flight which I have to get tonight to Atlanta. So I'm afraid I'm going to be rude and I'm going to have to leave here sharp at 5:15. So I apologise for that. Flights were set and then the agenda got changed and it was too late to change the flights. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to focus on Goal 16. And Goal 16 is the peace goal: peace, justice and governance. The reason I'm doing that is because peace is a cross-cutting facilitator for everything else. So, if we look at the challenges facing humanity today, such as climate change, ever-decreasing biodiversity, full use of the fresh water on the planet, and underpinning all them, overpopulation. Unless we have a world which is basically peaceful, we'll never get the levels of trust, cooperation or inclusiveness necessary to solve these problems. Therefore, I'd say peace is a prerequisite for solving the problems facing humanity today. And that's different than any other epoch in human history. In the past, peace may have been in the domain of the altruistic, but in the 21st century, it's in everyone's self-interest. So, where does peace stand today? We've seen great strides and great changes in the way we actually look and understand peace. But if we look back over the last 8 years, peace has approximately stayed the same when you look at the average of all the countries in the world. It's decreased 2.4%. That's not a lot. The things which have fueled it have been humanitarian crises with refugees, increases in terrorism and increases in homicides. But 76 nations have improved in peace, 86 have dropped. So peace is not as bad as the press may lead us to believe. But there's something underlying all of that which most of us don't actually realise or know. And that is that there's a growing peace inequality within the world. So if we look at the most peaceful nations in the world, and we'll look, let's say, to Western Europe, they're at historically high levels of peace. They're more peaceful than they've ever been in their history. But we move to the bottom 20 nations of the world. What we find there is there's been a decrease in peacefulness. They're much more violent than what they were 8 years ago. And the other thing which we're seeing, it's sticky. These conflicts aren't stopping. Iraq, Syria, Afghanistan, Pakistan. So as we look forward, Goal 16 for me is the key one. It consists of 18 different subcomponents. Now, at the Institute, we've looked into this fairly deeply. And of those 18, 17 of them we believe are measurable. Now, if we're going to actually match or watch the progress, we need to be able to have measurements. So one of the things we'll be doing is putting a baseline in the next few months of what are the current state of peace as viewed through the measures within Goal 16. This will provide a basis for being able to measure moving forward. But there's something which is a facilitator for peace, and that is called positive peace. And positive peace is the attitudes, institutions and structures which create or sustain peaceful societies. And that works as a system. It's not causal, it works as a system. It consists of 8 different factors. They're things like well-functioning government, low levels of corruption, equitable distribution of resources, good relationships with neighbouring states, strong business environment, high levels of human capital, and a free flow of information through society. And if we look at these things and we come back and we do the statistical analysis, these 8 factors are also associated with all the other things which we think are important. So, like strong business environments, measures of well-being, gender equality, and ecological performance. So as we start to look and try and encapsulate all of the SDGs, what we need to do is take a systematic look and a framework so that we can actually tackle this within a holistic way. And therefore, I'd say positive peace is one of the keys to doing this. I'll tell you a small story. Okay. My background is in business. Got a family foundation, and we've worked in a lot of the poorest countries in the world. And a decade ago, I was in northeast Kivu in the Congo. And I was walking through there, looking at some projects, and I wondered, what are the most peaceful nations in the world? So I searched the internet, couldn't find a thing. And that is profound. Because if a simple businessman as myself can be walking through Africa and wonder, what are the most peaceful nations in the world, and it hasn't been done, how much do we actually know about peace? If you can't measure something, how do you know whether your actions are helping or hindering you in achieving your goals? You can't. And that is the transformational part of Goal 16. We've actually got a clear set of goals which we can strive towards to actually understand and measure how we're going towards peace. Also, the concept of peace has changed. When we launched the Global Peace Index, peace was generally seen as the absence of conflict. So it's like a light switch. It's on or it's off. So we developed the Global Peace Index. We developed a more nuanced concept of peace. That's the that's the absence of violence or fear of violence. So that takes in many other forms of violence as well, such as homicides, a level of people incarcerated in jails, there could be violent crime, domestic violence and much more. And then as we move further on, and the debate today is what we can see is really about not so much negative peace, but what is it which creates for societies to flourish, positive peace, such that the societies will not even slip into violence or conflict. And so the debate we're having around this is growing and changing. And I think it's an overarching theme which then affects all the other goals. I'll stop now. Thank you.